What's up, everybody? Choi here with Old Town. One of the species I've really enjoyed targeting these past few years is the northern snakehead. They're super aggressive. A lot of times you're watching them follow your topwater lure and waking behind it, and the explosions and acrobatics and just they're super fun to catch. And I had a friend of mine recently ask for some tips for beginners, so I thought I'd make this video and hopefully they'll help you out. We are in tidal creeks of Northern Virginia, but I'm pretty sure a lot of these tactics will transfer over to where you might be. All right, let's get on them. So as I mentioned, we're in tidal creeks in Northern Virginia, so any of the tributaries off of the Potomac River system should hold snakeheads. And the areas look a lot like this. Lots of winding, bending, lots of coves and pads, lots of structure. These little feeder creeks right here are great areas for them to ambush, so it's a great area to target. Other areas, obviously the pads are great, in and around through the pads. Other areas include some of the alleyways between the pads and the edge of the grass, the marsh, I guess. And those are good alleyways for them to travel and ambush. So, and honestly, all along the shoreline. I mean, anytime you see some structure and think it might be a good ambush spot for them, more than likely you're going to find them in that area. So standing up is by no means a requirement, but having a kayak that's stable enough for you to stand and get that extra height advantage can definitely help. Sometimes you'll see them hanging out on the edge of a marsh or the pads, or like this one here, just cruising the flat. I am in a Predator 13. Old Town also has the new Sportsman line. They are all definitely stable enough for you to stand. And another quick note, if you do find one, more than likely there's going to be others around, like this one here that I ended up spooking off. All right, so I got fellow pro staffer Roland Butler, aka Texas Monster. He's been catching a whole lot of them too, and I figured, you know what? Let's talk about what we use. What do you like to use?
Well, usually early in the season, I'll start off because there's not a lot of grass. I love a chatterbait. Black and blue is usually my favorite color. Usually want to throw a trailer on that. This is the Gambler Komodo. But the best way to really fish for them is a topwater frog. Whether that's a hollow body, a just regular plastic kicking leg frog, or a popping frog is one of my favorites. Yep. It's something out of this world to see them come out of the water.
Watching them wake behind it is just so much fun.
Exactly. You don't know how big the fish is about to be. All you know is there is a wake coming at your bait.
I know you want it.
And you have to do everything in your power not to snatch it before they get to it.
Yeah, and don't slow it down.
Oh my God, he's right there.
If it starts waking, don't slow it down. You gotta keep it going. I mean, even when you get all the way to the boat, I mean, I might drop it when it gets right to the boat. You know, free spool, just drop it straight down. I also love the frog too. I do a lot of the prop ones in the back, like the Teckle Sprinkler. And then the ribbit, like the little
Stanley ribbit.
Yeah, which is the weightless weedless, just on a big thick worm hook. I think we're using for the most part like medium heavy gears, and then you got the heavy.
Yeah, I got a real heavy one. This is for when it gets low tide. You get a big grass line everywhere. I like to fish the holes that are inside of that grass that's emergent now that you can see, because they'll sit. I feel like they're territorial, and they don't like to move too much. So if you had one that was sitting in a hole the whole time while it was high, when it gets low, that's the only little bit of water there, and he's really not going to go anywhere.
And he's also got a natural ambush spot. It's a hole. If something goes in that hole, he's going to eat it. Yeah.
It's his.
So A lot of great tactics. I also like the inline spinner that I've been using lately.
I love that thing.
I actually ended up making it because I saw somebody using it. I was like, that makes a lot of sense because you can, it's a lot of vibration. And that's part of it. It's like they're attracted to noise and vibration and movement. They have relatively small eyes, so it's a lot of sensing, with their lateral line. And then you notice they got a whole bunch of holes,
little spots, on their sensories.
Yeah.
Kind of like a shark, honestly, when you think about it.
Yeah. And they're curious like that too. I mean, I've had them turn and look right at me from underneath the boat.
Yep.
So there's some sort of intelligence back there. A little bit.
It's kind of creepy.
A little bit. Anything else that we're not thinking about?
That's pretty much all I really throw for them.
I mean, but what have you caught them on though?
Oh, I've caught them on plastic worms, bass fishing. I've caught them on creature baits,
spinner baits, flukes,
spinner baits,
super flukes,
flukes. They do love flukes. They do love a fluke. It's good.
I'm sure
good
they
way
hit
to
a
go
Senko.
after them.
Like you get a Senko in front of them. I'm pretty sure.
They probably would.
I mean, they're just aggressive.
Yeah, they're aggressive.
I think one of the more interesting parts of dealing with snakehead is what happens when you get them in the boat,
or even just beside the boat.
Yeah,
on anywhere near, like towards the end of the fight, the end game of their fight is not that fun.
Here's a tip: clear what you have in your cockpit.
Yeah.
Because if you're planning on not using a net and just putting it, even if you have a net, because you're gonna have to eventually put them down, and it's gonna go crazy. There's gonna be an explosion in your cockpit,
and they're gonna act like they're calmed down, right? They're gonna act like they're done, and you get them in, and then all of a sudden they're gonna explode, like sheep's head or even cobia.
Yeah.
You can have them down for a long time, and all of a sudden, bam, they explode with some power. These things the same way, they explode with some power, and they're muscular.
Very.
Yeah, and big.
Scared to put them down.
Yep. And toothy.
And toothy. They do tend to get lockjaw when you bring them on. So I mean, sometimes I'll stick a knife just in the jaw and then spread it and then get the lip gripper in there.
Yeah.
Definitely want a long pair of long nose pliers because sometimes it gets way down in there, and you definitely don't want to be sticking your fingers in there. So I mean, really, the fun part is watching them hit, and then the explosion of that. For the most part, after that, they're coming pretty much straight to this boat.
Yeah.
You think they're done and chill, but again, once you get them in the kayak, there's a whole nother fight you got to deal with.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that they are an invasive species. There's some controversy surrounding them. One group wants them to be killed on site immediately. Another group wants them to have game fish status with specs for trophies and everything. I know that the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries here in Virginia has been trying to figure out their long-term effect on the ecosystem, and preliminary findings show that they aren't as bad as people initially thought. What I have to say is please just follow your local laws. In Virginia, we don't have to kill them, but you can't transport them unless they are dead. I do know they are delicious though. Regardless of what you do with the fish, I hope these tips are helpful to you, and I hope you have good luck catching them.